a slight problem. There was a slight problem. The cool guys of the class, 3 or 4 of them, they wanted to practice for an upcoming badminton tournament. So they said, we are going to occupy the court today. Please do not disturb us. And that week, I wanted to play badminton. So any other day, Shiva Prasad would fold his hands and silently say, the cool guys have spoken. They have all these expensive rackets and they are good players. So disturbing them would be a crime. So let me just silently walk away from here. But not that week. That week, I was having none of it. I walked up to one of the cool guys and in Kannada with nice decorative words, I said something. Let me translate it to English. I said, does the school belong to your father? That guy was shocked. He fell short of words. Actually, he was almost amused. Shiva, you are speaking. Sir, please come. Please play badminton with us. Now, it's a small and trivial thing. I managed to play badminton that day, and there onwards, nobody disturbed me while I played badminton. My point being, you have to stand up and speak up for yourself. My fellow Toastmasters, standing up and speaking up for yourself is very important, because if you don't, people will consider you a pushover. People will consider, people might, consider you as somebody who can just be, pushed aside, and something similar to that. People will take you for granted if you do not stand up and speak up for yourself. Never undersell yourself. Never take yourself lightly, and never accept something for a compromise just because somebody else asked you to. And people will take you definitely for granted, and trust me, being taken for granted is the worst feeling ever. With that, let me introduce someone who we all might have taken for granted every week. She speaks, she gives a great speech, great presidential address, and we might have taken her for granted for this fact. She's a qualified ACCA and a qualified chartered accountant who is currently working with PwC. Aside from commerce, she absolutely loves to paint. She enjoys playing the guitar, learning new languages, and practicing yoga. She is also an avid reader. The former secretary, associate, VPPR, VPM, and VP Education of Macon Communication Club. Please put your hands together for President Toastmaster Ankita.
Thank you, Shiva, for that very flattering introduction. Before we begin with the meeting for today, can I please call upon the secretary to read out the minutes of the previous meeting? Toastmaster Bhavani, over to you.
Thank you, Madam President, Toastmaster Ankita. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests. Here is the minutes of meeting number 1161, which was held on 9th of May 2022 with the theme, There is Something About Words. The word of the week mentioned was altruism. The word of the day mentioned during the meeting was embodiment. The business session started at 6:30 p.m. and was chaired by the President, Toastmaster Ankita. In the business session, on behalf of Vice President Education, the President mentioned that all the roles but the speaker slots and table topics master are open for the next meeting. The announcement of Division C contest, as well as the District 121's annual conference crescendo was made, and the members were encouraged to attend the same. The regular meeting started at 6:32 p.m. Associate Sergeant at Arms Toastmaster Shiv Prasad Sharma started the meeting with an introduction about the theme and later handed it over to the President Toastmaster Ankita, who opened the meeting, spoke on the theme, and introduced the Master of Ceremonies, Toastmaster Sai Snehal. The Master of Ceremonies spoke on the theme and introduced the following role takers: the timer, Toastmaster Vaishnavi; a counter, Toastmaster Pavani; grammarian, Toastmaster Balaji; PP evaluator, Toastmaster Shiv Prasad. The educational session on The Body Speaks was conducted by distinguished Toastmaster Usha Iyengar. The table topic session was conducted by Toastmaster Arundhati Herle and had 7 speakers, who were Toastmaster Vijay Upendra, Toastmaster Shiv Prasad, Toastmaster Pavani, Toastmaster Balaji, Toastmaster Sanjana, distinguished Toastmaster M.U. Bhatt, and Toastmaster Mamta. The general evaluation was conducted by distinguished Toastmaster A.K. Prabhakara. The winners were the best table topic speaker, distinguished Toastmaster M.U. Bhatt; the best role taker, Tab G, by Toastmaster Balaji; MTG by distinguished Toastmaster A.K. Prabhakara. The President closed the meeting at 8:30 p.m. This is my minutes. Back to you, President Toastmaster Ankita.
Thank you, Bhavani, for the comprehensive MOM for the last meeting. Any changes proposed to the same?
Word of the week was altruism, but not embodiment. It was highlighted by Mr. DTM Prabhakar also on that day.
I think Bhavani mentioned that in her minutes, right? Bhavani?
Embodiment. She said embodiment.
Sir, I mentioned
He
word of
mentioned
the
both.
week was that, but word of the day, the grammarian told that as embodiment. So I've written both in the MOM.
Okay, great.
That satisfies your doubt, Vijay Upendra, sir?
Yes, madam. Thank you.
Okay. With that, we consider the minutes as passed, and I now open meeting number 1162. Firstly, a very warm welcome to the guests present in the online and offline audience. Can I please call upon Toastmaster Gaurav to help me invite the guests in the offline audience to introduce themselves, please? Over to you, Gaurav.
So there are 3 guests in the offline mode, and I request all guests one by one to come over here and let us know about yourself and how you came to know about Mekon Communication Club and about Toastmasters.
Hi, this is Samya here for the offline and the online. I know Toastmasters from a very long time, but then probably 8 years back I attended, and then I had a daughter, I had a kid, and got busy with my own stuff and all that. Now I want to start, so I've just come here today to start the new journey. So otherwise, I am going to be a teacher from this June for the academic year in a chief school for the English class. So that's about it.
Can we have next?
Hi, good evening. I'm Hansika. I had attended last week's Toastmaster and continue.
I have the last guest.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Mokshit. I'm a recent mechanical engineer graduate. So the reason I work in a company, I am good with technical knowledge, but what I found was I was not able to communicate my ideas clearly. So the reason was joining was when I asked a friend, like, I want to improve speaking skills. Do you have any suggestion? He suggested me Toastmaster last week. So I kind of searched on Google, and Mekon was one where people were appreciating. So I just gave a call to go. So that's how I joined Mekon.
That's it from the offline guest. Over to you, Ankita.
Thank you, Gaurav, for helping me with that. There's another guest I see in the online audience, Mokshit V. Could you please unmute yourself and introduce yourself, please?
Okay. Ankita, it's the same old guest who is in the offline mode. So it's the same person.
Okay, all right. Thanks, Gaurav. I warmly welcome all the guests present in the offline audience. I hope to see you all join us as members soon, and I wish that you thoroughly enjoy today's meeting. With that, a very, very warm welcome and good evening to all the fellow Toastmasters and guests present in today's meeting. Have you ever felt like you're sitting at the table and nobody wants to listen to what you have to say? I'm not speaking about just a boardroom. I'm talking about your dining table, where you might feel like you're not being heard, or it might even be any other table. You know, maybe your friends are sitting around you and you just feel like they don't really want to know your opinion on things, what you might want to contribute to this conversation. And I feel all of us have been there at some point in our lives, and feeling like you're not being heard, like you aren't important, can be so terrible, right? When I started interning right after my IPCC exams at EY, I felt ignored for a couple of months. I felt like My opinion on things didn't really matter. My say in the way an audit should be done didn't really matter. And my colleagues felt like I was no good because after all, I was only an intern and I barely had any work experience. But after a few months, I felt like I have to begin to speak up and confront them and tell them that, listen, hey, you have to listen to what I have to say. And things became so much better when I stood up for myself and made myself seen whenever an opportunity arose. It could be a review meeting, a presentation, anything work related. I made sure I was giving it my best and made my colleagues aware of the fact that my work was up to the mark. And nobody else does that for you. You have to do it for yourself. It's your voice, it's your stand. You have to speak for yourself, because if you don't, you won't be heard, you won't be seen, and you will just feel invisible. With so many people in the same niche as you, I know it's inevitable to feel invisible sometimes. And in those moments, that is exactly when you have to pull your socks up and ensure that getting out of your comfort zone, one conversation at a time. And I think that's how even our world around is shaped. We are living in a democratic country, which basically tells us that, every voice matters, every vote matters. You've got to speak up, you've got to put your opinion on the table. And it might take courage, it might feel uncomfortable, it might feel overboard sometimes, but you have to do it, because if you don't speak up, no one else will on your behalf, and no one else should on your behalf. You have a voice, you need to raise that voice, you need to take a stance, and you need to speak up, even if your voice shakes a bit while you're doing it. You might make mistakes a couple of times, you might say something which does not make sense to a lot of people, but that's not a reason for you to not speak up at all. And our TMOD for today is someone who has courageously done exactly that. He has come out of his comfort zone by accepting the lead role for today's meeting. He's going to be the one who will weave today's meeting together, and this opportunity he has taken up on himself. He is a BCom graduate from the Jain University and is currently working at PwC. He is a stock market enthusiast, a passionate traveler, and loves dogs. He's had an ardent wish to travel to Leh Ladakh and witness all the adventure sports. With a thunderous round of applause, please help me welcome the Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Gaurav Badri. Over to you, Gaurav.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ankita, for that lovely introduction. So imagine for a moment that you are invisible. No one can see you, no one can hear you, and you have a lot of time to do whatever you wanted to do. So at that moment, of course, everyone will like to sit around people and listen to their gossips, listen to what secrets are they talking about. Or else you try to prank someone by moving the chair so that you're invisible. Of course, they'll think you're a ghost. But imagine, like, even though you're not physically invisible, you'll always be mentally invisible sometimes. For example, you're in a conference room, you're discussing something about a business, and you may not have been given a chance to stand up and speak on what is your opinion, what is your views about so and so reasons. A very good evening to all the Toastmasters and to all the guests present today. So as I told, there are few members who are not given a chance to speak at one particular event or one particular occasion. But when someone gives you a chance to speak, you'll always take a step down, because that one thought, it will be always running in your mind that what if I say something wrong, and what if people start judging you? What if you make a fool of yourself in front of a huge audience? And let me give one example of my own experience. The very first time I stepped into this room was 2 years back. I attended my first meeting as a guest. And when I entered the room, there were around 30, 35 plus members filled in this one single room. And the only thing that was running in my mind was, please don't make a fool of yourself so that you don't get embarrassed. And it was during the table topic session where the table topic master was giving out his or her last topic. And that person told, this topic is open for the guest. Anybody would like to come up and take up this topic? and no one was willing to come on themselves and taking up initiative to speak. So the table topic master was glancing around the room and was just praying that please don't pick me, please don't pick me. And unfortunately, she looked at me and that person told, the one in the blue shirt, why don't you give it a try? Please come over here. Let everyone give him a huge round of applause. Everyone started clapping. I'm like, now is not the time. I tell him that, I'm not interested to take this topic. But I had no other go. I came to the lecture. Everyone was staring at me. I felt like I'm in L. I don't know what to do. But the topic which was given was very easy. But that moment when I started talking, 1 minute felt like an hour to me. I don't know what nonsense I blabbered. What I spoke was not at all relevant to the topic which was given to me. And when the timer raised the first card, a green card for 1 minute, that felt like freedom. I'm like, okay, my time is done. Whatever I was talking, I just stopped in between. I just left in and I just started saying thank you. And after table topic session was the break session. And I felt, okay, I just made a fool of myself, which was not, I was planning to do so. I was about to walk out of the room and just go home. And two Toastmasters came to me and said, you did a very good job talking, taking up the initiative to come on lectern for the first time. And being a guest, being the first person, talking in front of a huge audience, it was actually good to see that a guest is talking for at least a minute. I thought I thought people will be judging that I did a very bad job. But instead, people appreciated me looking at few positive things which I did in that 1 minute. And that is when I decided that Toastmasters is the platform that I'm looking for. And that is when I decided that I'm going to be a Toastmaster one day. Now, when I was in school, like many of us would have been, in this situation where a teacher asks a question in the class. Of course, you'll be knowing the answer, but that one hesitation that what people will think if you give a wrong answer, you'll put your hands down saying that let me not take that risk. So after 2 years of experience in Toastmasters, now you tell me to speak in front of a huge audience, tell me to speak in front of anybody. If any situation given around, I will never stop myself to stand up and speak for myself. And I sometimes regret that, if I wouldn't have taken that opportunity, if I'd said that table topic master that day that I don't want to talk about this, then maybe I wouldn't have been in Toastmasters. Maybe I wouldn't have got that confidence to speak in front of a huge audience, to stand up and speak. So all I say is just forget all these, thoughts that, what people will think. People will think, oh, no matter what, he will do a good job, he will do a bad job. So they might, remember that moment for a few minutes, maybe for a few days, maybe for a few weeks. But after eventually they'll forget what embarrassing or any bad memory you had along with them. And speaking of Toastmasters, it was started in the year 1924 by a man called Ramses Medley at YMCA Santa Ana, California. He started Toastmasters to help people get rid of this fear called public speaking. Like it's scientifically proven that people find public speaking more, that's the number one fear that every 90% of the people have. So he started this non-profit organization to help people improve their communication and public speaking skills. Toastmasters, which was started as a single club, now as across, as a single club now across as 145 countries with 16,200 plus member clubs and having membership strength of 3,64,000 plus. And in a typical Toastmasters session, Toastmasters meeting, there are 3 sessions. The first is the prepare speech session, where a speaker would have prepared his or her speech well in advance, according to the project guidelines, and he'll be delivering the speech in front of the audience which is present today. And the second session is a table topic session, where a table topic master for the day will randomly pick people from the audience and will be given a topic, and that person should speak for 1 or 2 minutes. And the third session is the general evaluation session, where the general evaluator will evaluate like the proceedings of today's meeting. I'll be giving few feedback for the next meeting. And before we start with the first session, let me introduce the tab G, which is called as timer, R counter, PP evaluator, and the grammarian, will be helping us in the smooth functioning of today's meeting. And as and when I call out the tab G team, I request you guys to explain your roles so that it's more understood by the guest and it's more okay, I'll just call out the tab G role takers. The first is the timer, Toastmaster, which over to you.
Good evening, Toastmasters and guests. So I'll be taking care of the timer today. So for the icebreaker session, it'll be 4 minutes as a green card. 4 minutes as the green card, and 5 minutes for the yellow card, and red as 6 minutes. And for normal speeches, it will be 5 minutes as a green card, and 6 minutes for yellow card, and red for 7 minutes. So for table topic session, it will be 1 minute for green card, and then one and a half. So for 1 hour, 1.5 minutes yellow card, and then 2 minutes red card. So yeah, thank you so much. I'll give my report at the end of the meeting. Okay, evaluation session. 2 minutes for the green card, and 2.5 for yellow, and then 3 for red. Thank you.
Can you give me a huge round of applause? Now I'd like to call the R counter for the day. She's a deputant R counter taking this role for the first time. Please put a round of applause for Toastmaster Sanjana.
Good evening, Toastmasters, and welcome guests. I will be the R counter for today. I will be counting the R's, repeated words, pauses, and the crutch words of all the speakers today. Thank you.
I'd like to call the grammarian of the day, Toastmaster Monish, and we have the introduction.
A very good evening to my fellow Toastmasters and welcome guests. We all know how important grammar is in any language. So today I will be making note of the good usages and not so good usages of the words. And the word of the week is anomaly, which means something that deviates from what is standard, normal, or expected. An ideal usage of the word can be, there are a number of anomalies in the present system. So I will be giving my report at the end of the session. Thank you. Anomaly. Anomaly.
Next, I'd like to call the parliamentary procedure evaluator, Toastmaster Vijay.
Good evening, Toastmasters. Welcome guests. For smooth functioning of meeting, speakers are asked not to speak on sex, religion, and politics. Request online participants to keep videos on at all times and mute the audio while speakers are speaking. Entry and exit should be done during applause. I'll give my report during evaluation session when called upon. Back to you, MC of the day.
Thank you, all the role takers. So can I give them a huge round of applause for all the role takers, please? So let's start with the first session, that's the prepared speech session. And the first speaker for today's attempting is icebreaker speech, that is level 1, project 1. I request the individual evaluator, DTM A.K. Prabhakara, to read out the project guidelines.
Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome guests. The purpose of this project is for the member to introduce himself or herself to the club and learn the basic structure of a public speech. I reiterate the word basic structure of a public speech. This member is completing his or her first speech in Toastmasters. The goal of the evaluation is to give the member an effective evaluation of his or her speech and delivery style. Because the icebreaker is the first project a member completes, the evaluator may choose to use only the note section and not the numerical score. Over to the Toastmaster.
Thank you, A.K. Prabhakara. So the first speaker, as I told, is attempting his icebreaker speech. So as he has to introduce himself to the club, so let me not introduce him, let him introduce himself to the club. So to use round of applause, please help me welcome the first speaker for today, Toastmaster Veerabhadra.
ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. In order to progress, what are the parameters required? According to me, hard work and luck is required. Apart from your good health, money and other things, what is required is hard work and luck is required. My dear Toastmasters, can you tell me which one is more or less? Hard work more or luck more to progress? Kindly give your feedback to me. Yeah, one person says hard work. In my case, both were there. I was able to climb the ladder like anything, even though I come from a remote village, which I was not able to speak in English also. But that is my strength. Hard work and luck both go together, which made me to reach to this position, which I am going to tell you in the coming days. Another strength is I won't afraid to do any good job. When I take up a job, I bring it to the logical conclusion. Hedaradiru manave, himmettadiru manave. Hedaradiru manave, himmettadiru manave. Hidida chalava bididiru manave. ಜರಿದರೆಂದು ಜಂಕಿಸಿದರೆಂದು ಶಸ್ತ್ರ ಸಮಾಧಿ ನೀರು ನೇನು ವಿಷೌಷಧದಲ್ಲಿ ಘಟವ ಬಿಡಬೇಡ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ don't try to do anything, do the good thing. Don't try to hang yourself or take poison. Don't do that one. These are my two strengths, which I can substantiate in my 75 years of age. How these two factors are helping me. First thing is, I completed my engineering between 65 to 70. We are totally 11 children to my father. I took up the responsibility of educating my younger children also, 2 brothers and 1 sister. Even though I was getting a legal salary, I helped those people to come to Bangalore, made a small house and facilitated further education. Finally, one became retired as a superintendent engineer in PWD, and another one is still working as an assistant, as a professor in the agricultural college. One more thing is my little sister was there, which I liked very much. She said, I want to do MBBS. My father said, I don't want to educate any girl children because getting them married is a big burden on me. I told her, if you want to educate me, believe me and come to me. I will give my life to see what your ambition is fulfilled. She came up neglecting my father, and I did my best to make her a doctor. But when she was studying in a BSc, when she was studying, a pain in the knee joint was diagnosed as a bone cancer. It is nothing but an osteosarcoma. Only the medicine is amputate the leg. Amputation was done in the St. Philomena's Hospital. I went there and asked the doctor, what is your charges? Then he said, I won't charge anything. At that time, I took a decision to marry a doctor and build a nursing home. I must give some service to the society. The luck was in my side. I was able to marry a doctor and build a nursing home, which is running at PDA layout, Girinagar, which I am doing society cause also. That is one thing. So during my education, I used to visit during the holidays. I used to go to my village and visit the fields. I saw the number of trees were dwindling. I asked my father, what has happened to the trees which were here, which I saw, which I was playing there? My father said, I cut the trees to educate you. I felt on that day, what can I do? I was alone. I came to Bangalore. I got a little job. Then we ourselves decided to open a company in the year 1977, which has grown to the magnificent level as on to this day. I became the treasurer of the Electronic City, not to collect the money, but to plant the trees. Apart from collecting the money, I became familiar with many people. They made me a treasurer, and I was able to plant 6,000 plants in an Electronic City from 92 onwards. Till today, I am planting the trees in and around wherever the place is available here. Apart from that, we thought the land given by the villagers, we must do something about in and around 15 schools are there. We were able to give a good food for them in this thing. Midday meals was also arranged for them only. So that made me to, luck was there in my side to this thing. After the graduation, I thought I should not go for the government job. What is it? Somehow I got some job in this thing. We 4 people decided in Kabban Park and said, let us open our own industry. In the 1977, my own company, Syscon Instrument Private Limited was opened. And today we have 250 employees with a turnover of about 40 to 60 crores per year. So the luck was inside. Apart from hard work, luck was also inside me. So you may think, this man, there is no problem for him. Problems are there. The way in which you think a problem is a problem. Problems generated over time cannot be solved at the same level of thinking. You have to think in a different way. That is my another plus point for him. What are the problems I am facing? The board consists of 4 directors. There is nobody, none of our children are coming there. None of our children are coming there to take the responsibility of running this show. My big worry is what to do with the 250 people, what we have. We cannot remove them. Even in the COVID time, we are able to give a salaries to them, which comes about 1 crore 10 lakhs per month. We are able to provide the salaries to them. Now, who has to take care of this company? With our maturity, we made 3 employees to become a directors which they are running it. With their competency and other things, they can take the company up to 50 crores. We want to make it 100 crores. So that means we have to bring a different people and do this job. So this is all this thing. In my life also, I came across a lot of anomalies because there was nobody to guide for me. And without if I had some guide on that time, I would have been a different person. So how to live in this world? Few things I will tell. How to live happily in this one. ಬೆಟ್ಟದ ಮೇಲೊಂದು ಮನೆಯ ಮಾಡಿ ಮೃಗಗಳಿಗೆ ಅಂಜಿದೊಡೆಂತಯ್ಯ, ಸಮುದ್ರದ ಕಡೆಯಲ್ಲೊಂದು ಮನೆ ಮಾಡಿ ನೊರೆತೆರೆಗಳಿಗೆ ಅಂಜಿದೊಡೆಂತಯ್ಯ, ಸಂತೆಯಲ್ಲೊಂದು ಮನೆ ಮಾಡಿ ಶಬ್ದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾಚಿದೊಡೆಂತಯ್ಯ, ಚೆನ್ನಮಲ್ಲಿಕಾರ್ಜುನ ಈ ಲೋಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಹುಟ್ಟಿದ್ದ ಬಳಿಕ ಸುಖನಿಂದನೆಗಳು ಬಂದಡೆ ಕೋಪವ ತಾಳದೆ ಸಮಾಧಾನವಾಗಿರು. That means you have made a house in the hillock. Why are you afraid of the animals? You have made a house on the seashore. Why are you afraid of the waves coming there? You have made a house in Sante. Why are you afraid of the south? Be happy. May God bless all of you. Be happy and do hard work and luck. Definitely, Almighty will help you. Thank you very much.
A very good speech by Toastmaster Veerabhadrappa. As its icebreaker speech, request everyone to give a huge standing ovation. Although this was like a last moment speech, he did an amazing job. So let us move for the second speaker for today. The second speaker is attempting level 1 project 3, and I request the individual evaluator, distinguished Toastmaster M.U. Bhatt, to read out the project guideline.
Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome guests. This project is about researching and presenting level 1 project 3. The purpose statement says the purpose of this project is for the member to learn or review basic research methods and present a well-organized, well-researched speech on any topic. Actually, the member will present a well-organized speech on any topic. It can be humorous, informational, or any style, but it should not be a report on the content of the researching and presenting project. The time allowed for the benefit of timer is 5 to 7 minutes. All the best to the speaker, and back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, distinguished Toastmaster M.U. Bhatt. So let me introduce the second speaker for today. He is a director. One second before I introduce. I just want to check from the online audience that is there any disturbance in the audio? Like whenever I speak, am I clearly audible?
Now it's better. There was some slight disturbance. Now it's okay.
Windows. Okay, so let me continue. The second speaker for today is the director at Managed IT Services Company. He is into fitness, he's a marathon runner, and he practices yoga. He's a big time foodie and his favorite sport is Formula One. So to use round of applause, help me welcome the second speaker for today with the speech titled Cyber Security Every Day. Over to Toastmaster Prashant.
How many of you here update your phone when the software updates are available? Please raise your hand. Thank you. How many of you do not update? Okay. Good evening, Toastmasters, and welcome guests. The society has to wake up now, smell the coffee. Cyber security is going to be part of our life every single day. We need to practice cyber security every single day. Last December, I traveled to Mumbai. One data center company wanted to give us the maintenance activity. Basically, they wanted to outsource. The day I and my colleagues went there, I observed frantically lot of calls coming from customers to the help desk, complaining that they are unable to access the server. They are unable to find their data. So after a while, the engineers were able to address that all the files have been encrypted, the GBs of folders are turned into KBs. That evening, the management received an email from a hacker. The hacker demanded $3,000 US. He also claimed he has complete control of the network. The management was not ready to give in. They restored from the backup and brought the server live. Next day, 20 servers again. So this time it was large and enterprise customers. It was a huge pressure on management. Lot of thousands of users were sitting idle without not being able to access the server. Finally, the management gave in. They paid the ransom, that too to a crypto account. Next day, the hacker sent a decrypting code with the steps to bring the servers up and live. He not only shared that, but he also shared what are the loops that are available in the data center and how it can be fixed. So that's the one that corporate pays from the hacker. Let's come to your personal life. Imagine your passport details, your license details, the places that you traveled, the place that you visited, you lived, all this information is compromised. Such breach is going to live with us forever. As we are embracing the digitization, the hackers also are increasing. As per cybersecurity survey, it is found that corporates are losing close to 6 trillion every single year. Now, there are various attacks that hackers use. Most popular ones are the phishing and malware. And then there is ransom, which I already explained to you, and then DDoS attack. Let me explain some of the popular methods that hackers use, which is phishing and malware. Phishing is an email shared by the hacker which seem to be from a genuine source or a trusted source. And malware is nothing but a malicious software or a script which will directly harm your computer, your server, and your network. A hacker will use a phishing email along with a malicious software to do all the damages. It is found from the survey from cybersecurity that almost every 20 seconds there is a new phishing site that comes up. Post-COVID, there is an increase of 650% on this phishing software. Now, the good part is, we need to take control. We need to take control on what software, what hardware you can buy, how you can update, how you can enable two-factor authentication. Let's find out some of the steps how you can prevent this. A, you can kind of install patches and antivirus. These patches will fix vulnerabilities in your application and software, which will significantly reduce the cyber threats from hackers. Secondly, antivirus will in fact prevent virus, trojans, spywares, and a lot of other things. Third, you need to maintain caution while you update your personal and company information onto the net. Because most of the time you would have signed NDA or confidentiality agreement. Secondly, you need to be very careful in clicking any of the link on social media unless and until you are very, very sure. See, the final conclusion is that I want you to enjoy the connected world without having to be worried about somebody spying on you. With these steps, with these preventive steps, we can enjoy and live safely. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Prashant, for that informative speech. As we are all surrounded by technologies nowadays, it's very important to know all kinds of hacking that people do. So let us start off with the second session for today, which is the table topic session. So the table topic master for today is a dancer who she finds her soul peaceful when she dances. She's a sport climbing runner and she's a trekker as well. And like when she treks, it feels like she has that adrenaline to make sure that she finds that peace. And with the huge round of applause, please help me welcome the table topic master for today, Toastmaster Vaishnavi. Over to you. Can you give her a huge round of applause?
Firstly, am I audible and visible? Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests present. So I have a set of fun and nice topics for all of them present here today. So I hope you enjoy the session. I'll be sharing my screen in few seconds. Can someone confirm you guys can see the screen?
Yes, it's visible.
Yes.
Yeah, we can see it.
Just give a second. Okay. So the first topic is your favorite childhood game. I repeat, your favorite childhood game, and this topic goes to Toastmaster Mamta.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. My favorite game in my childhood is shuttlecock. I was from a village since my childhood. My grandfather is a landlord. So girls were always kept like a cage. You are not allowed outside to go even. So we used to play in the ground itself, which was built in a compound. House was in the center and it was surrounded by a big compound. No outsider was allowed. And we attended few of Hobley level and district level shuttlecock matches, and I used to enjoy winning the game. I collected many certificates, then came to Bangalore. Then it is entirely new world where even I don't know how to talk English also. Teachers were used to scared of me. They never used to scold us also. Whatever we talked, it was like, okay, fine. Those children were allowed to do anything. And we were always humble. We never took an advantage of our grandfather's fame or something. And after coming, I joined engineering college. There I played even the throw ball also. There also I won. So basically, I like playing sports. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Mamta, for your wonderful experience. So the next topic. A failure is a life lesson. I repeat, a failure is a life lesson. This topic goes to Toastmaster Arundhati.
Good evening, my dear fellow Toastmasters and guests. A failure is a life lesson. Failure can be encountered by anyone, but how you take it is up to you, and that is the most important factor which decides your success or further failure. When I was in my 10th standard, I got the second place in my school. Till then, I used to be the topper. My father was very upset because he had lots of hopes on me. When I was in first PUC, we had some guests at home. And once I went there to serve coffee or some beverage, I told my father that this girl is very brilliant. Do you think she'll become a doctor? My father told, even I thought so till she had her 10th exam. But after that, I feel she couldn't top the class. She may not be able to become a doctor. She couldn't prove herself in her 10th standard. That whole day and night, I cried. I couldn't sleep, I couldn't eat. But next morning, I decided to prove him wrong. I started studying very well, and my focus was only one thing, to study science in the best possible way. And I secured 13th rank to my state, and I got admission in Bangalore Medical College and became a doctor. The failure which I encountered in my 10th standard was a life lesson. Till then, I just took things for granted that I can do anything and I'll be successful. But that failure, though it was not considered as failure for others, for me personally, I took it as a failure. It was a life lesson, and it gave me more motivation to involve myself, to focus on my goal and to achieve it. Failure is definitely a life lesson as long as you take it as a life lesson. Thank you, and back to you, Madam Topic Master.
I hope I'm audible now. Okay, the next topic is turning vegetarian is a way to save the world. I repeat, turning vegetarian is a way to save the world. This topic goes to Toastmaster Zuleka.
Hello everyone, happy evening. Turning vegetarian is a way to save the world. I beg to differ this. Turning vegetarian may not be the only way. There are many other hundreds and thousands of ways which we can make the world safe to everyone. And being vegetarian or non-veg, it is people's personal choice, I believe, and that has to be left to them, individual choices, as it is a food. And we can save the world, we can make this world a beautiful place and peaceful way by caring, and caring not only for animals or plants, but by caring for humans as well. Because every species on this planet is very precious, because everything is created by nature, and it is our responsibility to respect nature and respect every individual, whether it is plant, animal, or any other creature for that matter. And as far as coming to the food habit, different regions in the world, according to the geographical dimensions, people have their own food habits, own culture. And I think we all have to respect individuals' regional and religious, or maybe the personal choices that would make the world more better and safe place for everyone. Thank you so much. Back to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Zuleka. Moving ahead with the next topic. If you have a superpower, what would you do with it? I repeat, if you have a superpower, what would you do with it? This topic goes to Toastmaster Shiva.
Thank you, Table Topic Master. Very good evening, my fellow Toastmasters and dear guests. If I had a superpower, it would obviously be to become invisible, because I embarrass myself all the time in table topic responses. I speak whatever comes to my mind on the spot. At that moment, if I can become invisible, that will be the best thing in the world. Wherever I go, in case I don't want to be noticed by people, I have social anxiety. I have fear confronting people. In that moment, if I can just disappear from the position, if I can just become invisible and go somewhere else, I would be really happy with that. So that would be it. Back to you, Table Topic Master.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shiva. Moving ahead with the next topic, I'd like to call upon DTM Udanka for the next topic. The topic is war is a way to create peace. I repeat, war is a way to create peace.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and welcome guests. What is the day to create peace? So, for different people, there are different ways, and what exactly I cannot mention because for me, if I want peace, I take my camera, I'll just go with nature, click some of the good shots that I want. I'll come. Thank you. I'll come back, enjoy watching that, and that would be a peace of mind for me. So it depends on the individual. For me, that acts as a stress buster, peace booster, everything, whatever you can call it as. But for people like Gaurav, playing with dogs or taking with dogs to walk would be a good thing. And food lovers like me, again, you can go have different foods, different cuisines you can taste. That would be one of the peace. So it is not specific to a person or it's not a specific way. It is mainly the individuals what we think is. I always say to my friends that whatever we do, we have to make sure we are satisfied and we go to bed peacefully. So make sure you do the things which you will feel good to you, which you are satisfied completely, no matter what it is. So with that note, handing over the charge back to TTM.
Thank you, DTM Udanka, for your insight on the topic. Moving ahead, for the next topic is, if you could change your profession, what would it repeat? If you could change your profession, what would it be? It's Master Vijay.
Could you please repeat the topic once again? It is neither visible, not clearly audible.
Okay. Am I audible?
Okay.
You can see that.
Okay. Then.
The topic is, if you could change your profession, what would it be?
Thank you, Table Topic Master. Good evening, Toastmasters. Welcome, guests. I have changed many professions. So from automobile engineering to electrical engineering, from there to finance, from there to estate planning, and estate planning will be the last destination in my life. There will not be any change in my profession as such. So profession changing really gives a lot of challengeable situations in life. It is very easily said than done. It requires a lot of courage and willpower to change from one segment to other segment. We all see that engineers, they get into employment and retire as engineers. Doctors, they become specialists only in that particular area. That means changing profession is not that easy. In my case, I had a lot of opportunities and good mentors so that I could change every 5 years, 10 years, something like that. Within the span, I changed various professions so that I could be relatively successful in life. So my last destination I have already reached. I will be taking this as a main profession because a lot of educative values can be imparted to the public so that they are going to save the next generation in protecting the assets that are acquired by individuals by transferring to the next generation. This I am going to taking taken as a major profession today, and I would like to continue this and end my life so that I can create a better world for the next generation. Thank you, and back to you, table topic master of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Vijay Upendra, for sharing your views on the topic. Moving ahead, the next topic is has the internet made life better or worse? I repeat, has the internet made life better or worse? Toastmaster Monish. Toastmaster Monish, could you please take up the topic?
Thank you, Table Topic Master. A very good evening to my fellow Toastmasters and dear guests. So, has internet made the better world or worse? So, I think anything that's good always has a negative effect, and I think internet definitely has made a better world for us. In the case of information technology, and especially I think for students also, before you had to go to the library and look for it, and for our generation, it's always been easy, just look up the internet. But when you look at the negative side also, like Toastmaster Prashant sir told, cyber security, internet has also made the world a little more unsafe. So, like everything, every good side, every good thing also has a bad side, and it's left to us to balance and mitigate, for us to balance the good side and the bad side. So I feel it's more like a seesaw, and we need to balance it. We need to be safe on the negative side also, and we should also reap the fruits of the positive side. And I think internet as a whole and in the future will 100% be a very vital factor for the progress of humans and all the animals on the planet. Because, for example, 20 to 30 years ago, if you had to spread some information, it would either be through newspapers or any other printed media. But today you see news, and you see, for example, this app called In Shorts. You can see the news in 60 minutes, 60 words. And you will know by probably half an hour you will be breaking news, and you can see what's happening on the other side of the world. And also the stock market. Most of the Indian stock market is also controlled by the US stock market. So there's always reports of what's happening in the US market, which is all it's real-time information, which is very helpful in the financial situations also. So with that, I think that it's a good thing and a bad thing, and it's just left for us as individuals and as a community to balance it. Thank you. Back to you, the topic.
Thank you, Toastmaster Manish. Moving ahead with the next topic. If you could legalize something that is illegal, what would that be? I repeat, if you could legalize something that is illegal, what would that be? Can Toastmaster Sanjana in the online mode take up this topic? Toastmaster Sanjana? Okay, can Toastmaster Ujjwal take up this topic?
Am I audible? Am I audible? All right, yeah. A very happy evening, fellow Toastmasters and my dear guests. Thank you, Table Topic Master, for giving me this topic. So, if you could legalize something that is illegal, what would that be? All right, it's a quite challenging one. I mean, all of the things which are coming to my mind right now, like it's better to be illegal. I mean, it's better it is not legal. So let me take just 30 seconds of time. All right. You know, the thing which I'm talking now might not be similar to the topic which the table topic master has given. So when now, as you all know, GST, goods and service tax. So for tobacco, the GST is not applicable. So I would rather say GST should be applied on the tobaccos because it is. I mean, since it is out of the GST, it is not livable on the tobacco is not. Sorry, GST is not livable on the GST. I suggest, or I probably would like if it is included in the GST because at least I know it will not come down because people are habituated to that tobaccos. So at least in case of if it is included with the GST, at least the amount of the tobacco would be increased. So there would be something where the people would the amount of taking the tobacco would be reduced. So yeah, that's my take on the topic. Thank you, and over to the table topic master for this.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ujjwal. Moving ahead with the next topic, how to handle criticism. I repeat, how to handle criticism. This topic goes to DTM MU Bhatt.
Madam Topic Master, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome guests. How to handle criticism? That is one issue probably many people will be seized of, because day in and day out you get criticized for some action of yours or not, but you feel that you do not deserve it. So how to handle criticism in such a way? There are several ways of doing it. What I would generally say is the best method which I have found out which is useful is just to listen from one ear and let it go from the other ear. Because if it is really a worthwhile criticism, you do take it as it is and try to add on something that you try to improve yourself. And if you think that it is not really, you do not deserve such kind of criticism, the best way to do is just listen, give a smile, and just forget about it. It's just fall in your ear, but you don't take any action on that. You just smile it and smile it off. That is one way of the unsolicited or undeserving criticism. But yes, if the criticism is something like our evaluation, what happens in Toastmasters, where we just get inputs, what really went wrong with your speech and how you can improve. That is a positive criticism or a positive feedback. Probably that is the place where you have to wake up and say, you can definitely, there's a sense in what he says. Let me try to imbibe that and let me try to improve myself. So this is the criticism, how you handle it. You can analyze, the way you criticize, immediately you can make out the genuine criticism, or he's trying to really try to improve or suggest something like that. So this is what my take on that you take criticism, you try to understand the other person, and if it is genuine, try to improve yourself and take it on your side. And if it is not, just listen from one ear and let it go on the other side. Just give a blank smile to him. That's my take on it. Back to you, Madam Topic Master.
Thank you, DTM MU. But this is the next topic is the last topic. Any guest who is present in the offline mode or online mode can take up this topic. The best way to say no to someone is. I repeat, the best way to say no to someone is. Any guest can take up the topic.
The topic is
The best way to say no to someone is.
Okay, we have to fill it. So the best way, it's a nice topic. It's I have an answer to that. So this topic, I was discussing with one of my cousin sister, like when she was trying to interview me for, trying to make me practice for an upcoming interview, or like how to, like if she was giving me tips on how you should work and like what all the tips to work in corporate world, because I was just entering into it. So the first thing she said was, whenever there's something someone says that you don't like or you think it's wrong, first agree to them, then get their perspective, understand, and once you get that perspective, either you will agree to their solution, or either way, or you can propose a new solution which you think is right, other than agreeing to them. So my conclusion on saying it to no is to first understand what they're trying to say, and then make them say no. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. I hope everyone enjoyed the topics. Back to the MC, Toastmaster Gaurav.
Thank you, Table Topic Master. That was an amazing session. So let's have a 10 minutes break. The time now is 7:50. Let's get back at 8 o'clock. Thank you.
ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಭಟ್ ಸರ್, ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದ್ದೀರಾ? ವಿಜಯ್ ಉಪೇಂದ್ರ ಹೇಳಿ. ಭಟ್ ಸರ್, ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದ್ದೀರಾ? ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದೀಯ? ಆಡಿಬಲ್?
ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಸರ್.
ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದ್ದೀರಾ?
ಹಾ,
ವೆರಿ ನೈಸ್.
ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಮಾತಾಡಿದ್ರಿ ಸರ್ ಇವತ್ತು.
ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಸರ್.
ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮಲ್ಟಿಫೇರಿಯಸ್ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಇದು ಅಡ್ವೆಂಚರ್ಸ್
ಹೌದು, ಅದೇ ಟಾಪಿಕ್ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಡ್ತು. ಟೋಸ್ಟ್ಮಾಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಇಂದ ಒಂದು ಆಪರ್ಚುನಿಟಿ ಬಂದಿತ್ತು ಸರ್.
ಏನಂತ ಸರ್?
ಅದು ತೇಜಸ್ವಿ ಸೂರ್ಯ ಅವರು
ಹೌದೌದು
ಸಮ್ಮರ್ ಕ್ಯಾಂಪ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರಲ್ಲ.
ಹೌದೌದು, ನೀವು ಕೊಟ್ರಾ?
ಹಾ, ನಾನು ಹೋಗಿದ್ದೆ, 2 ದಿವಸನೂ ಹೋಗಿದ್ದೆ, 7th and 14th.
Actually, ನಮ್ಮ other club where they requested me to put somebody from our club. I had talked to Ankita. Then she gave names of our Udanka and two persons from our club attend. I think you are independently have gone there. I think.
No, Ramdas called me.
Ramdas Bhatta.
Ramdas. ಅವ್ರು ಒಂದು ಟೋಸ್ಟ್ಮಾಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ರಾಮದಾಸ್ ಅಂತ ಇದಾರಲ್ಲ, ನಿಟ್ಕೆ ಬಿಹೈವ್.
ಅದೇ ನಿಮ್ನ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್. ನೀವು ಮತ್ತೆ ನಾನೇ ಕೊಟ್ಟೆ ಸರ್. ನಾನು ಇವರಿಗೆ ಫೋನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೆ, ಅಂಕಿತಾಗೆ, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ he requested for 2 persons from our club.
Actually,
ಅದು seven places it was happening simultaneously.
ಹೌದು.
That's why the problem was there.
Correct.
So they provided some 5-6 people. So ನಮ್ಮ ಕ್ಲಬ್ ಇಂದ 2. Then like that, I think it was a great success ಅಂತ ಕಾಣುತ್ತಲ್ಲ.
ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿತ್ತು ಸರ್. I enjoyed it.
About or icebreaker by everybody ಅಂತ ಕಾಣುತ್ತೆ. Introducing themselves.
ಹೌದು, that's how it is.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
You are audible.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. So it's time, so let's continue with the meeting. So let's start with the third session for today. The third session is general evaluation session. And the general evaluator for today is an extrovert who believes in learning and growing in every step. She is an avid reader and dancer, and professionally she holds an MBA in finance and currently works as an analyst in Societe Generale. So with huge round of applause, please help me welcome the general evaluator for today, Toastmaster Bhavani.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Gara. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests. Before I move on to my general evaluation report, let me call upon the individual evaluators first for their speech evaluation. Calling upon our first evaluator, distinguished Toastmaster A.K. Prabhakar.
Madam General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters and Toastmaster Veerabhadrappa in particular. The hallmark of the icebreaker, or what it should contain, is in a form of an acronym. I'm very fond of that, explaining that process. It is FIP, family, interest, and profession. With respect to that, I will be evaluating. Second is, in this pathways, only once they have explained something very as a basic principle of speech making, that is opening, body, conclusion. And with respect to this, I will be evaluating, and little more I'll elaborate as I go along. The speaker started with a namaskara. It's a very familiar word, and he is a kind of person that endears himself to the audience. He's a very humble person, and that kind of humility he brought through that single word. Then he said it's hard work, and whatever he takes up, he brings it to a logical conclusion. That's what his opening sentence. And he recited a vachana in Kannada. And that was something that sums up his way of looking at life. Then he went on to go back in memory lane to find out what he did that shaped him to the future, brought him to whatever he is today. And it is he being an engineer, and he had short of money, how he made it to become an engineer. Then he started his own company today, which has grown to value in terms of revenue, in terms of 60 crores, employing 250 people, and deciding to educate his brothers, sisters, and starting a nursing home for his wife. All are, if you sum up, it's a pathways that he has chosen is dynamic leadership. And the decision is the hallmark of a dynamic leader. Decisions are made in solitude. He has to take the decision on his own and own it up. That's what he has done throughout his life. And that's what he used the dynamic leader pathways to drive home the decisions he has made about number of trees that he has planted in electronics. It is phenomenal work. He's still an humble person. That's what he was trying to say. And towards the end, he recited one more vachana and concluded with a big loop, closure loop, saying that be happy and work hard. And only thing that I suggest to him is that whenever he recites in a different language other than English, assuming the audience doesn't know that particular language, you better be translating it. ಬೆಟ್ಟದ ಮೇಲೊಂದು ಮನೆಯ ಮಾಡಿ ಮೃಗಗಳಿಗೆ ಅಂಜಿದೊಡೆ ಎಂತಯ್ಯ. You have made a home on hillock, but there are wild elements. You should not be scared of that. Ultimately, you have to deal with the problem. That's what he was trying to convey. Learn dealing with the problem, take decision. That embodied his speech essence. And one other suggestion, as far as he is concerned, he introduced, he didn't tell how many children he has. And that side, a family side, was not brought in. His interest and area of interest and profession was brought out very well. Excellent speech. Maybe he can polish it a little better and he'll come out in flying colors. And over to General Evaluator.
Thank you so much for more of content-based evaluation, distinguished Toastmaster A.K. Prabhakara. Let's hear it for our first speaker as well as our first evaluator. With that, moving on to the second evaluator, distinguished Toastmaster M.U. But please present your evaluation.
Madam General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, welcome guests, and Toastmaster Prashant in particular. Let me first congratulate Prashant on giving a very, very informative speech on cybersecurity. Congratulations on that. Let me evaluate your speech, Prashant, on the two areas where you really did well, and probably areas where you can have probably done differently to raise it to a next level. The first thing is, what I liked about you was your comfort level in front of the lectern. You are very, very comfortable. You stood up so very with a good stance and standing in behind the lectern. And you have got a matter of style speaking, which suited this particular topic. There's one thing you did really well, and your body language, your gestures were very, very evocative and very natural. That's what I felt. That shows your comfort level behind the lectern. So you have done amazingly well on that. Your selection of the topic is another thing which I really like, because there is something which is relevant to all of us. We are day in and day out, we are bombarded by such of the phishing attacks or ransom calls and things like that, or hacking attempts on our software. So it was a very, very relevant topic, and it came out so very well. Having said that, what you could have probably done differently? Prashant, this is about researching about a particular project. Researching is nothing but doing, knowing more and more about less and less. Something very specific, you are doing, learning more and more about it from different sources, or some authoritative, authentic sources, and presenting in the form of a speech. You talked about cyber security. You brought some interesting statistics also regarding $6 trillion losses every year happening because of the cyber crimes. About every 20 seconds, a new phishing site getting opened up. These are all very interesting and very telling statistics. At the same time, I would have thought that as a research subject, it would have brought more credibility if you had ascribed the source to it. There are several institutes like Google, Cisco, McAfee doing research on that. There are independent cyber security research institutions doing on cyber security, trying to develop algorithms and modeling and simulation on data security per se. All these things, if you had done some research on that and if you had presented, that would have given more credibility to your research topic on cyber security. Also, cyber security is something connected with cyber crime. And the relationship you had brought about how if something this thing gets hacked, what you're going to do, which is the nearest cyber crime police station, what they do, this sort of thing would have added value to your speech. But other than that, the way you brought about, you told about that how you call to us because society has to wake up to and practice this cyber security every day. You stress the word on every day. That's what is very relevant. And you brought about so many methods how to prevent that, about how control on software you can do that, how you have to change your passwords often, how to install antivirus software, and unnecessary clicking on certain sites which you do not know authenticity of. These are the things which are very useful to the audience to tell about that. So to that extent, it's a very, very informative speech. But to take it to a level of a research, I would have appreciated you are taking more on some real research being done on that and quoting some credible sources like, say, Satya Nadella of Microsoft or Sundar Pichai of Google, in what they have to say on that. That would have given more credibility to it. That's what my take on that. But thank you once again and congratulations for the wonderful speech given on cyber security. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you so much for the detailed evaluation, distinguished Toastmaster MU. But let's hear it for our second speaker, Toastmaster Prashant, and our second evaluator. Dear speakers, ensure that you take the evaluation and give your best speech for the next time, and congratulations on finishing your project this time. So now moving on to the evaluation of the meeting. The meeting started at 6:36 p.m. Due to technical glitches. There was a delay in 5 minutes. During the business session, Toastmaster Ankita ensured that she gave a chance to the Vice President of Education, who informed about the rules of the next meeting, and the 2 announcements for the contest and the conference were made. A good job on being presenting the business session. With that, the actual meeting took off at 6:38 p.m. with the Associate Sergeant at Arms, Toastmaster Shiv Prasad Sharma. Toastmaster Shiv Prasad, I appreciate your story of standing up for yourself. You brought your story into picture by also appreciating the Indian men's badminton team, which won yesterday. So your presence of having something current affair and mixing or relating that with your personal story made an impact in this meeting. And you have a good energy level, and that is how a Sergeant at Arms should start the meeting. With that, a great job as an SA. With that, I'll also tell that Sergeant at Arms has shared the ballot forms. Do vote only for the best speaker and the evaluator. The TABG roles can be voted after they present their report. Moving on now to the president, Toastmaster Ankita. You had a good start with a question. The element of curiosity in that it was not a normal table, but you bought into a dining table later. So that was a good point, which I liked. You had a powerful message and you told everybody to come out of your comfort zone and also take one step at a time, because every step matters. So your message had your presidential address had a message which was a good takeaway for all the members. Coming to your role as a president, you ensured that the minutes is read, as well as you introduced the guests both online as well as in person. So kudos to you and a great job, and you are an inspiration by your presidential address and as a person to the club. So thank you for that. Before I move on to the TMOD and PTM, I'd request the role takers to please present their report. Let me call upon the timer, Toastmaster Vishesh, to present his report.
We need Toastmasters and guests again. So as you know, timing is really important, and you need to keep up time as and when it's been done in the speech. So I'll just jot down the whole thing. So Sarah terms, Mr. Toastmaster Shiva took 3 minutes and 4 seconds. And Mr. President, Ms. Toastmaster Ankita took 3 minutes and 1 second. So report of the previous meeting was 1 minute and 41 seconds. Toastmaster Veerabhadrapa sir on his icebreaker took 7 minutes and 9 seconds. Toastmaster Prashant sir took 6 minutes and 52 seconds. And total number of table topics were about 10, and number of speakers were 10. So total of about 15 minutes and 45 seconds is what we took. Break time was about 9 minutes, and the general evaluator till now is about 16 minutes. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, the Toastmaster Vishesh, for your report. Just one suggestion, you need not call the Toastmasters sir or madam. You can just address them with the prefix of Toastmasters. With that, moving on to the next role taker, let me call upon the counter to present your report, Toastmaster Sanjana.
Thank you, General Evaluator Toastmaster Bhavani. So here's my report for today. Sergeant at Arms TM Shiva had 2 hours, 1 President TM Ankita had 2 hours. Toastmaster of the day TM Gaurav had 2 hours, 2 and 2 crutch words, you know. Then timer TM Vishesh had 3 hours. Our counter TM Sanjana hasn't had anything because she hasn't spoken much. Grammarian TM Monish had 6 hours. PP evaluator Vijay Upendra has been flawless. Coming to the speech section, speaker 1, TM Veerbhadrappa, had 5 hours, 2 repeated words and 1 pause. Evaluator of speech 1, DTM AK Prabhakara, had 3 hours and 1 pause. Coming to speaker 2, TM Prashant had 1 hour and 1 pause. Evaluator's speech 2, that is DTM MU Bhatt, had 2 repeated words, so and you know twice. Coming to the table topic session, table topic master TM Vaishnavi had 2 hours, 2 Speaker 1 TM Mamta had 2 hours. Speaker 2 TM Arundhati had 2 hours. Speaker 3 TM Zulekha had 2 hours, 5 and repeated words thrice, and then DTM Udanka had 1 hour. TM Ujjwal had 4 hours, 3 and so far General Evaluator Bhavani has had 3 hours and 1
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Sanjana, and congratulations on doing it very well, because this is your first time as an counter. Thank you so much for the detailed report. With that, moving on to the PP evaluator, Toastmaster Vijay Upendra, please do present your report.
Good evening, Toastmasters. Welcome, guests. All the speakers presented their views perfectly, and no one spoke on sex, religion, and politics. Coming to the online participants or the members, some of them were not on as far as the video is concerned. When the table topic master was called, there was no response. These things needs to be addressed properly. Otherwise, meeting went on very well. Thank you, and back to you, G.
Thank you so much for the crisp report, Toastmaster Vijay Upendra. Moving on to the last role taker, Toastmaster Monish as the grammarian. Please do present your report to the meeting.
Thank you, Toastmaster Bhavani. A very good evening again to my fellow Toastmasters and dear guests. So today we have a wonderful meeting with a couple of good usages, which was frantically and vulnerabilities and made in solitude. And one not so good usage, is more understood, would have been to understand better. And the word of the week was used once by Veerabhadrappa. So can we have a round of applause for that? Thank you, and back to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Monish. Let's hear it for all the four role takers. Thank you for your report, and it will help, and it has helped all the members here to improve in their next meeting. With that, a gentle reminder again to vote for the role takers, the speakers, and everybody. The ballot is sent in the WhatsApp group as well as the chat box. Moving on now to the star of the day, Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Gaurav. You had a personal story, and that was something everyone could connect easily because you got in a story of your first time in Mekon Communication Club as a table topic speaker. You have a great content and you are a very good speaker, but one point of improvement, a suggestion would be you can do it with more energy. And I could also see that you had too much of to and fro movement that maybe is not a sign of nervousness, but it is actually showcasing on that. So probably you can work on your body gestures as and when you are coming to speak there. So and you also had a good introduction about each and every speaker or the role taker. So it shows that how you have prepared, and you ensure that you give 1 or 2 lines of message after each session of our format. So as a TMOD, you have done your role in a very great manner. So let's hear it for the Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Gaurav. Moving on to the last role taker, the table topics master, Toastmaster Vaishnavi. You had a very good set of topics, and those topics which easily everybody could speak, except for maybe one topic, but that's okay. Because you asked for a detailed evaluation, just 1 or 2 lines of suggestions. Maybe you can give 1 line based on the response you hear from the speaker, and then transition to the next topic and the next speaker. And before you start the table topic session, you can, for the benefit of guests, you can tell why a table topic session is conducted, what is that they are going to gain from speaking impromptu for 1 or 2 minutes. So probably you, Toastmaster Vaishnavi, or anybody who takes table topics master role, give the essence of why table topics session is very important. With that, a great job done as a table topic master. Let's hear it for Toastmaster Vaishnavi. Last but not the least, the general comments on overall meeting. The starting time and the ending time as per agenda is different. Because we usually start, when it's hybrid meeting, we usually start at 6:30, but the agenda still says 6:15. So we may work on that. And in case there is a change in agenda last minute, please ensure that it is informed to the members or at least the role takers, because as a general evaluator, I myself didn't know that we had the second speaker and second evaluator. So that is one point. And coming to the good side, I would say a great teamwork, which I can see here. The VPM ensured that he introduces the guest in the in-person audience, as the president was not personally present there. And he also ensured to help the timer when he missed the evaluation part while reading the rules. So this is the teamwork which you can see in Mekon. Good job done by the role takers and the speakers as well. You would have stood up for your roles and to give your first speech or your first role. So have a pat on your back. With that, this ends my report. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Gaurav.
Thank you, Toastmaster Bhavani, for that informational session, I would say. I'm sure all the members who took part in today's meeting will take all the comments you gave and make sure that they work on this from the next meeting. So can we give the general evaluator a thundering round of applause, please? Before I hand it over to the president, I'll just like to quote, which I strongly believe most of the days. Only by speaking out, you can create lasting changes. And that changes begins when you start coming out of your comfort zone. So leave all the thoughts that stops you from coming out and giving your opinions. Always remove all these negative thoughts and always never miss out an opportunity to talk, because talking inspires people. With this, I like to give it back to the President Toastmaster Ankita.
Thank you, Toastmaster Gaurav. We have had a great meeting today. And I also would like to thank Gaurav for coming up with a theme that was kind of like the need of the hour, and also something that we as members of the club should stick in our brains. Only when you come up, take roles, speak out, will you actually learn and master the technique and the art of public speaking and communication, which helps us in so many different ways, not just in creating an impact on people listening to us, but also feeling heard, feeling understood is one of the best feelings ever. So if you practice the skill of communication, which can happen only when you speak up, you will become better at communication, which will help you personally and also help leaving a lasting mark on the minds of people that you interact with on a regular basis. So I would like to thank all the role takers for putting their best foot forward today, taking up roles, showing up in today's meeting, and helping us making this meeting what it was. I would request all the members present in the meeting room, online as well as offline, to please keep your Basecamp feedback ready. All the role takers who have come up today, please provide feedback to them. It goes a long way in helping members come more often and take up roles. Also go a step ahead and notify them on WhatsApp or SMS. Tell them that you've given them feedback on Basecamp. Ask them to go check it out. That really goes a long way in helping members proceed and become better communicators and leaders, which is why this platform has been created in the first place. Also, tomorrow there'll be a recording of the meeting shared on the WhatsApp group. Any of you who want to revisit your speeches or evaluations or table topic session, you can just click on that link and watch the entire meeting recorded on the very link. Also, a reminder to register for Crescendo. Please, I would like to see participation from Meconians in the same conference, and also the Division C contest that's coming up on 21st of May. Mark your calendars for both of these events and do participate in large numbers so that we can have Mecons representation in huge numbers. With that, I would like to now hand over the awards for today's meeting. Let's begin with the best TAPG role taker, that is in the timer, our counter, PP evaluator, and grammarian category. This goes to our debutant counter for the day, who is very recently joined us. She gave a very good report, the accounter's report. Toastmaster Sanjana, congratulations for winning the best role taker in the TAPG category. Congratulations to you. The best major role taker goes to our general evaluator for the day, who gave a very comprehensive report and highlighted some key points for us to work on. Thank you, Toastmaster Bhavani, for that general evaluation session. The best prepared speaker goes to Toastmaster Veerabhadrappa. Can I please request Gaurav to hand over the ribbon to him since he's in the offline audience? Congratulations, Toastmaster Veerabhadrappa. I'm looking at him behind the lectern after, I think, years now. It was definitely a very good experience. Thank you for that speech, Toastmaster Veerabhadrappa, and congratulations to you. Thank you. The best table topic speaker goes to DTM MU Bhatt, as always. Congratulations, DTM MU Bhatt, for that table topic response. And the best evaluator was quite a close competition between two seasoned Toastmasters of our club. And it has been bagged by DTM MU Bhatt, sir, again. Congratulations, sir, for bagging the best evaluator for the day. With that, we come to the end of the meeting. Before we close, let's all rise for the national anthem. I hope it's done even the offline setup. Gaurav, could you please confirm? Cool. With that, I close meeting number 1162. Goodbye, good night. See you all next week.